Hi, welcome back yet again to the Beer Temple. I am Chris Quinn, and I am luckily with my wife, Margaret Quinn. Thanks for being here yet again.
You're welcome, yet again. Hi, everybody.
Hey. So the idea behind today's show is to give people ideas about really awesome world-class beers that don't take a world-class effort to get.
Or a world-class budget.
Right. So beers that are year-round, easy to find at better beer stores or even better supermarkets, and taste great and really taste just as good as a lot of these hard-to-find beers, if not better in some cases.
Right. And, you know, a lot of times we get the question like, well, if you're just in kind of a, you know, just a regular bar that maybe doesn't have a great craft beer list, what are some of the things that you may order there and be satisfied with? And I think today's lineup are some options that would, you know, be available to people who...
More often than the Bell's Hop Slam that we did last time.
Exactly, right. A little more available than that.
Yeah. Pliny the Elder, or some of these big beers that we've done.
Right.
So, yeah, so we just kind of picked three that we personally really like and have had in the past, and we're going to review them and kind of talk about them, and then set you guys out to go and try them.
Yeah, and also really curious to know what your go-to beers are. If you're, you know, in a bar that may not have a great list, and you want something that you're going to enjoy, what kind of stuff do you guys pick up?
Yeah, guys, that's kind of a call out to you guys, because that's something I really want to know too, and I think other viewers want to know as well. I mean, it would be nice to get a nice little list going here of these beers. So we have three of them.
Get right into it.
Get right into it. So the first one we're going to do is a German-style Pilsner. We've done a Czech Pilsner show, but not a German Pilsner show. And German Pilsner and Czech Pilsner doesn't necessarily mean the country of origin. It's more of a style. There are two styles of Pilsner. There's the Czech, which is a little bit fuller bodied and aromatic, heavier hopped. And then there is the crisper and sometimes more bitter tasting, lighter overall bodied German Pilsner, or Pils. A lot of times it's just called Pils.
Yeah, and I think it's a great point that you make. It doesn't necessarily mean the country of origin, because Trumer Pils, which is the beer we have today that Chris is pouring now, this beer is actually brewed in Berkeley, California, if you can believe that. They have a brewery right here in the States.
It is an Austrian brewery.
Right.
They're from Salzburg. They wanted to open up a satellite brewery, and so they could get, you know, good, fresh beer to that country. I think that is such an awesome idea, and it's worked.
Absolutely. Yeah, because Trumer Pils is one of my favorite beers to go to in the bar, even in bars that have a good craft beer list. I mean, I often find myself ordering a Trumer because I know it's just going to be a nice, crisp, drinkable beer. Absolutely.
Freshness information, the Best Buy, there's a Best Buy code written vertically right next to the UPC. If you guys don't know, all this information is on Fresh Beer Only. It's not freshbeeronly.com. It's a weird Google site, so just Google Fresh Beer Only and you'll see it come up. It is incredibly useful. You know, even if you have a smartphone, pull it up at this beer store if you're really concerned about what's going on and you want to find out about it. This has a Best Buy date. It's set to May 13th, so way out. So we're probably looking at, if we're looking at if they do go 4 months, then this beer is a couple days old. If we're going with 6 months, which is at worst, then we're looking at an 8-week-old beer. So very, very fresh. Freshness is a concern for Pilsners. It's not as much as like the Hopsman we had on the last episode, but you know, you want to have a beer within, you know, 4 months. Your Pilsner. Right.
To get some of these nice crisp qualities that are, you know, the most enjoyable qualities of the style in my opinion.
Yeah. So absolutely light, brilliantly clear, straw-colored
Yeah, I was
beer.
just going to say straw for sure.
Yep. Thin white head. When you do pour this beer in larger quantities, it does get a nice little fluffy white head to it for sure.
Yeah, and it's funny, you know, when you order this in the bar, they usually serve it to you in kind of that pillar glass, you know.
Very tall and thin glass.
Yeah.
It's actually designed for kind of gulping, so you can drink it. This is a low alcohol, refreshing beer. personally don't like that beer, that glass.
It seems a little fragile to me.
It's so tall and thin, it's just kind of goofy. I have been known to ask for a Trumer in a non-Trumer glass.
Yeah.
But I'm a dork like that. But hey, I want to enjoy my beer.
Yeah.
So let's take a sniff. Sniffy sniff.
Yeah.
All right, so there's a couple qualities that I always look for in this Trumer Pils that I really love. The first is that really nice biscuity flavor to it, which is a nice light, not biscuity, but bready malt character. The second is that minerality to it, which is a hallmark of certain German Pilsners. It's from the minerality in the water, and they actually, I'm assuming in Berkeley, add salts, brewing salts to get that, and it's great.
It almost reminds. It's not like salty, but like
briny maybe.
Yeah, maybe a little briny, but like a hard, like, you know, like calcium type.
Yeah, I get minerality is what, the way I put it. Not quite rocky, but you know, a little bit of that, and very floral, very almost perfume floral, but not like a cloying perfume. Like a nice, bright, floral, Saz, you know, lemony style. I don't know what hops they're using, but it could very easily be Saz or Hallertau or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think you nailed it. So
Wonderful. You're really getting the three components that are in beer. You're getting, well, there's four, but you know, you're getting the malt, you're getting the hops, and you're getting the water.
Sure, absolutely. And you know, I get a lot of that minerality on the taste as well. Certainly on the finish, you know, you kind of get like that, like stony type, you know, feel in your mouth or taste in your mouth.
Slightly astringent, slightly drying on the mouth. In the finish, not a very bitter beer, but really, to me, it's the play between those three things in the aroma. You're getting them all. You're getting that nice bready backbone to it, which is very light, but present. You're getting that wonderful stony quality to it, and you're also getting that great floral hop flavor.
Yeah.
None of them are jumping out. They're all playing very harmoniously.
Yep.
I love this beer. Another interesting thing about the brewing process, they actually they use dehusked barley, which is like the only place I've ever heard of doing that. Using the husks of the barley of the malt is considered to be necessary for straining, but they say you can get some harsh tannins potentially from that.
Really?
So I don't know how they sparge or how they lauter their mash, but whatever they're doing, it's working.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
to me, this is my number 1 or 2 Pilsner I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
I love this beer.
Yep.
I mean, I'm a sucker for it. This is also a beer, and I'm going on and on about this beer. I promise I won't take as much time on the others. But I really love this beer. And I am a big evangelical almost about this beer.
I can tell.
And it's also one that grows on you.
Yeah.
I've had many people who like, it's okay, including me the first time I had it. The more you have it, the more you have it, the more you have it. It's almost like, oh my gosh, I just love that flavor. And it's that minerality that really does it for me.
Well, for me, it's more about just the consistency and just knowing that when you order this, you are going to get a really, really good beer.
Drinkable.
Each and every time. Yeah, drinkability, which is important in certain crowds or for certain brands, I guess. But,
or for anyone for certain times.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, so that's why I oftentimes order Trumer, because I just know I'm going to get a consistently good beer.
Yeah. So I'm going to go 98 with this beer. I mean, it's one of my favorite beers in the world. I love it. Yeah. I don't want it to change in any way.
I think you're right. I mean, that sounds like such a high score, but I think you're right. I mean, it's just really good.
Yeah. So, there we go. Well, cool. Well, we're off to a very good start. I don't know if we're going to be able to keep these numbers this high.
can keep the trend going.
Well, we'll see. So I think we don't. I mean, I don't need to rinse. If you want, you certainly are welcome to.
I think we're good. So the next beer is Stone IPA. Stone out of Escondido, California, down in Southern California.
Basically, San Diego.
Right. Basically, San Diego. If you are ever in the area, highly recommend that you check out Stone's operations in Escondido because it's amazing. They have like the best beer garden in the world. It's somewhere we always stop off at when we're in San Diego area. So
yeah, it's a stunning place.
Yeah.
They're building a hotel across from it, so you can actually go and stay there. I heard an interview with Greg Cook, and he said you check in at the bar. How cool is? And that's what he said. He said, "Of course."
Right. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
Well, and you know, one of the things that I've been noticing with Stone, I mean, it's not nothing new, but the explosive growth that they have achieved since they've been around. They've been around again since the mid-90s, you know, part of that initial craft beer surge, and just the explosive growth that these guys have enjoyed is really astronomical. In fact, I saw something that they're looking at opening operations in Europe. And
they are going to, and I was going to mention that because they're doing what Trumer does for the same reason.
Exactly, because when you mentioned how, you know, for freshness they made open operations in Berkeley, California, I was actually thinking in the back of my head, okay, that's something to mention now with Stone because they're looking at locations in Berlin and Bruges in Europe to you know, bring Stone over to Europe and have it be fresh.
Absolutely. So this beer is one of their staple beers, one of their flagship beers, one of the first beers that I can make, maybe the first beer, you know, that and Arrogant Bastard. And it's a wonderful beer. It is a beer that I think is best enjoyed as fresh as possible. It's a little bit bigger. It's a 7% beer. It is the Stone IPA. I don't know if we've said that. And in terms of their of the date of this says enjoy by February. Now they have a very short. They have a 90-day period, so they're all about fresh beer. So this means that this beer is, you know, 2.5 months old. So it's like 10 weeks old. It's getting up there, but it's still perfectly fine. If it's in code and it's Stone, it should be very drinkable.
Right.
I will, having said that, this beer is best absolutely as fresh as you can get it.
Oh yeah, you know, I think the best Stone IPA story we have is sitting in an airport bar.
And there are so many Stone IPA stories we have.
Right, goes on and on. No, but we were sitting in an airport bar in San Diego. Airport bars, for those of you who travel, you probably know that they suck. They suck, and you probably don't have much of a selection beyond maybe a Sam Adams. But they actually had Stone IPA on draft at this airport bar in San Diego. We kind of cautiously ordered it, not really knowing what we were going to get, but it was our last beer, and it's in San Diego, so you had to go with the Stone. And one of the best beers in San
Diego.
And it was one of the best beers we had on the entire trip.
We had a lot of good beer, too.
I mean, I think we were both just floored.
It was eye-opening.
It really was.
Yeah. So that's why I wanted to put this beer on the show. IPA is a very popular beer. Stone is widely distributed. They take a lot of time and effort into vetting their distributors, making sure their beer is handled properly, and that vendors are not selling out of code beer. That is one thing Greg Cook will go bananas over.
Really?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. In fact, I've tweeted him about stuff, and he's asked me, "Was the beer in code? Was the beer in code?" Like,
wow.
Yeah. So, let's look at the beer. It's hazy. In fact, I can almost see some little particles in there.
Sea monkeys?
Something like that. Yeah, little sea monkeys.
Yeah, I see some sea monkeys in there. Yeah, I think you're right.
So that could be hot matter, could be yeast. These beers are not filtered. In fact, you can see at the bottom there's quite a bit of sediment in there. Look at it.
Yeah, there is a ton of sea monkeys in there. There's like a colony.
Yeah. This beer might have been agitated. You know, it probably should have been settled. You know, so it would have been poured, but it's not really going to affect the beer. So let's. Okay, so you're getting those West Coast hops.
Yeah, definitely a lot of pine.
Yep. I believe they use like Chinook, Centennial, and Columbus, I think is what they use there. Okay. CCC. All the big boys, you know, minus Cascade from the West Coast. And it's coming through. I mean, you're getting that herbaceous character to it. You know, not quite to the dank level, but also bordering on tropical as well.
Yeah, kind of trending dank, I would say.
Yeah, dank, not quite piney, but you know, you kind of got that marijuana smell to it.
Yeah, let's give it a taste.
Those you don't know, that's what when people say dank, that's what that means.
For the uninitiated. So I need to take another drink of this. I'm getting something weird out of this. Maybe I'm getting the dank.
I'm not getting anything weird. I mean, I'm getting good.
Yeah, it's good, but it's kind of took me by surprise. I think it's the dankness.
Oh, let's talk through this.
Let's talk.
Do you want me to talk while you think about it, or
use my words? Yeah, I am getting that dank nose is coming through in the flavor for me, like kind of like a bitterness, but also like a really herbal bitterness. I'm not sure how else to describe it, but dank.
So what you're getting, what I get here is hops in the front. I'm getting the herbal, dank, a little bit resinous, a little bit of fruit, some of that marmalade that I was talking about on the previous a couple episodes with the IPA, but not nearly as much. This skews much more towards the brighter, tropical, herbaceous, dank flavors. It is not to piney, but it's good. There is quite a bit of bitterness as well, and as you just kind of sit there, the bitterness grows, and kind of you find yourself reaching for the glass to take another sip. The malt bill is very light. I mean, it's really just the foundation for these hops to kind of sit on.
I don't know what it is. I get like a little touch of sweetness in it, and maybe that's just the citrus aspect of it coming through for me, but I'm getting like just a little tiny touch of sweetness in it.
Yeah, I mean, kind of like that. Well, a lot of times when I say, you know, marmalade-y, that's what I'm getting. I'm getting a bittersweet, kind of orangey flavor.
Yeah.
Very good beer.
Very good beer.
I mean, even, you know, we're talking about 10 or 2 weeks from its expiration date, and it's still tasting really, really good. I'm going to go 93 with this beer. It's really good. I mean, it's better than most of the beers I had on that IPA show.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah.
Hey, say this beer, not the one in the San Diego.
I know. I still feel like I'm getting something a little odd in that beer.
Odd meaning off, or
just something I'm not expecting, like that little touch of sweetness. I don't know if it's something else that is the Trumer interacting with it. I don't know, but I'm gonna go a little lower today, and it's still a great beer, but I'm gonna go 91 just because I am detecting something a little strange in there.
I don't get anything that I'm not expecting to get. So yeah, I mean, IPAs certainly have more malt backing than a pale ale. I kind of see pale ale as just oftentimes all hop, and then as you go up to IPA, you're going to get a little more malt, and then when you go to double IPA, you're going to get even more malt to it. So, and it's a bigger beer. I mean, it's 7% alcohol. You're going to get some of that body in there. For being 7%, that said, it hides the alcohol very well, and it's dangerously drinkable.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I mean, you could drink this like you could drink, you know, well, not quite a Bud, but, you know, pretty close to it.
Right.
And, you know, you're going almost 2 for 1 at that point.
Yeah, that's true. That's something to keep in mind when you're reaching for the Stone IPA at that bar.
But that's the Stone, you know, that's kind of the Stone way.
Right.
Yeah, they're cool. They've got a bunch of stuff going on. Can't wait to see how that Euro thing works out.
Yeah, exactly.
And also their hotel.
Yeah. Yeah, that could get dangerous.
All right.
Final beer here tonight.
The biggest of the three. 9% alcohol Russian Imperial Stout. So IPAs are one of the big styles of craft beer, probably the biggest. This might be the other one. I mean, these Russian Imperial Stouts, people love them.
Yeah,
they love Russian Imperial Stouts. The thing about Russian Imperial Stouts is there's so many that are hard to find. You don't know if they're any good. You don't know if you're going to like them.
You stand in line for 3 hours.
And sometimes they're not quite...
Yeah.
Well, We do. I don't know if, but you know, everyone's got their super duper special Russian Imperial Stout that comes out every once in a while, and you know, it comes in a huge format. It's hard to find a Russian Imperial Stout that comes like this. There are some. There's Victory has one. You know, there are certainly others. Grand Teton. But I like this. This comes in a 4-pack.
Have we said what? I mean.
Yeah. This is the Old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout from North Coast Brewing out of California.
Right.
So really 3 California beers we have here.
Yeah. Jeez, I didn't even realize that. You're right.
So they're from. Mendocino?
I think it's Fort Bragg.
Fort Bragg, okay. Fort Bragg, so kind of, you know, mid-south California.
Not to be confused with Dirty South.
Not the Dirty South. We're talking West Coast here. And you're raring to go today.
Sorry.
LL Cool J in the last episode, Dirty South. You want to
move on?
Spit some things about your candy ride, or?
I'll do the robot later.
Okay, that's cool. I'll do the worm.
Nice.
Max will do the sleep. He's good at that one.
Moving on.
Yeah, Russian Imperial Stout. That is kind of the biggest of the stouts. We've had a show. Sorry, Margot. Should have done you first. We did a whole show on them, so I'm not going to go too much into it, but it is a style that was originally brewed for the Russian Imperial Court, and they're big alcohol. This is 9%, and what I was going to say about this is it's available year-round. It's available in 4-packs, so you don't have to buy that big bomber, and it's easy to get.
And I was going to say, it's available in 47 states. I looked at their distribution.
Okay.
I mean, that's just a huge distribution, and in Europe and some other locations as well throughout the world. So, I mean, really, you should be able to get this probably wherever you are watching from.
And that being said, we could have substituted this with any number of their beers. They have a lot. They have Brother Thelonious, which is really good. They have Prankster, which is a wonderful Belgian golden ale. They've also got Red Seal, which is a red ale, which is very nice. Their Scrimshaw Pilsner is very good.
Blue Star.
Yep.
Yeah. So you see them a lot.
Yeah, that's their wheat. Yeah, their wheat beer.
You don't realize, you know, how often you see North Coast.
Yeah, very, very good. So let's dive into the Old Rasputin.
Yeah. So on the color, I mean, dark, rich brown. I don't think it's quite black.
No, it's
just really dark brown.
Really dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost like molasses colored, like dark molasses.
Yeah, and you know, that light tan head.
So you've got some of those umami flavors. Well, first thing you get is really nice chocolatey dark fruit flavors.
Yeah, I was gonna say like dried fruit. You know.
Not quite to the level of like a bittersweet, super ultra dark, high cacao level chocolate, but a nice dark chocolate with some good dried fruit in it. Next, you get a little bit of that umami, some of that meaty flavor that people talk about sometimes, but not to the level where it starts smelling like soy sauce. I like a little bit of it. It kind of adds a richness to it. But sometimes it's almost like you're smelling soy sauce. And the reason you get that in some of these big Russian Imperial Stouts is because at a certain alcohol percentage, the yeast can't live anymore in their own filth, basically. You know, would you like to live in your own filth? No, you'd explode like yeast do. They explode. The alcohol gets too high, and they actually explode, and their gutty works taste like have that meaty taste to it.
Yeah.
So that's what you're getting. You're getting this out of the big alcohol stouts because of the autolysis of the yeast.
Wow, that's a big word. I'm gonna follow that up with saying it smells like a chunky to me. You remember Chunkies? Do they still make Chunkies?
Yeah, the raisiny chocolate.
Yeah, those and they had like walnuts or something, or not walnuts, peanuts in them too. Maybe because it's kind of giving me like that little bit of savory in the Chunky.
Yeah.
It smells like a Chunky to me.
Cool. Good call.
I enjoy Chunkies.
Thank you, Margaret.
There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's called I Like Turtles.
I do like turtles.
Yeah, no shit.
All right. Ooh, man, but the taste on that, not at all like a chunky.
It doesn't taste like a chunky? No? Because it's funny, I didn't think it necessarily smelled like one, but I was going to say this tastes exactly like a chunky.
No, but I mean, the first thing.
So describe how not like a chunky it tastes. What? I can't understand what you're saying.
All right, chunkies don't taste like coffee. This tastes like a coffee.
Yeah. So I'll let you go. I'll let you recover a little bit from your chunky comment. It's good. You crack yourself up.
I did.
So let me have another sip. I was internally cracking up at you.
Yeah. So anyway, so what I got with this, and which took me by surprise, was just like that roasty, and I called it coffee because I was having a fit of giggles and couldn't really speak. But yeah, I get that roasty kind of coffee, dark chocolatey flavor, which I wasn't really expecting because it didn't really quite seem that way at all on the nose.
Yeah. So the first thing I get is some of that umami that I was talking about, some of those kind of savory flavors to it, followed by a little bit of that dark chocolate, and then that coffee flavor comes in, almost like a coffee stout. You're getting that like edge, like bitter edge to it, like a roast quality to it.
Yep.
Almost like you get from a really strong brewed iced coffee.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
And
right.
It's really, really nice. Not very bitter at all. In terms of the dating, because we want to go by this, there is no dating provided for this beer. It comes on the case, so I was not, pardon me, able to find out how old this beer is. That said, freshness is not really an issue for a Russian Imperial Stout. If you get it within a year, you're fine.
Right. This is a beer that you could, age for a little while if you have a cellar or a closet or something like that.
I mean, it's gonna taste very, very good fresh. I would, do I recommend having it fresh? Yes. What is fresh to me for Russian Imperial Stout? 6 months, I would say, is perfectly fresh. And but just knowing where I got this beer from, I have very little concern that this is an old beer. Right. So that said, and it tastes really nice.
It does taste really nice. And this is a beer that I admit even I overlook now because you have, like you said, you have so many competitors with these crazy Russian Imperial Stouts that you just have to have.
Yeah. And you do get some. I always get, and this is something I say a lot about stouts that nobody else gets, dried blueberries. And that's what I get in this, just a hint of it. Some really nice, dried blueberry undertone.
I know exactly
but
what you mean.
It's hiding away, almost like a chunky hides away from you when you go into a store. That's why I haven't seen them lately. And
all right, let's rate this beer.
Yeah, let's rate the beer.
Don't get me giggling again.
I promise.
All right, I rate this. Man, it's a really nice Imperial Stout. 93.
Yeah, I think that's about right. I'm going to go 93. I think this is a really wonderful beer. I think this stacks up or surpasses, like I said before, a lot of the special Russian Imperial Stouts that are out there. For those of you who do want a super duper crazy version, they do every year make a barrel-aged version of Old Rasputin. So if you can't handle getting, a $10 or $11 4-pack of it, you need to spend $23 for a $7.50 of it, there you go.
Right.
I only like my Russian Imperial Stouts expensive. A beer that I have not had recently, so I can't really comment on it. I'm sure it's delicious. There you have it. I hope this was very useful to you guys next time you're out there or just looking in the store for a beer that, it can be your next go-to beer, What's going to be my go-to Russian Imperial Stout? Let us know, like we said at the top of the show, what your go-to beers are, what styles you look for, which examples you like to drink, and why. It's something that I personally want to know. And, thanks as always. Please leave comments about this show at craftbeertemple.com. And ratings and reviews are always appreciated on iTunes. Thank you very much for that. But until next time, I think we've got some good beer to drink.
Yep, and hopefully you do too.
Tag teamed it again. All right, let's go get a chunky.